Only on CBS This Morning, two men who say that Michael Jackson sexually abused them as children are now explaining why they are coming forward. Wade Robson and James Safechuck detail the alleged abuse in a new documentary premiering on HBO this Sunday. Jackson has always denied any inappropriate behavior with children. We spoke to his family this week, and they insisted this documentary is full of lies. Robson and Safechuck admit to lying in the past, but they told us they are telling the truth now. Now, you may find some of this interview disturbing.
This is the truth of what happened, but the reason for me to tell it now, the reason to do this film is so much bigger than Michael. It's so much bigger than me and James.
Right. And Jackson fans, as you know, are adamantly defending him and saying that you all are admitted liars. You're just opportunistic and trying to get money from the estate and from Michael Jackson. What do you all say to that?
It's an old argument that they've used. They say it's just about the money. For me, the lawsuit was about fighting back for little James. You know, nobody fought for me as a kid, but I'm old enough now to fight for myself.
In the HBO documentary, Leaving Neverland, James Safechuck and Wade Robson claim they were sexually abused by Michael Jackson as young boys. Both men say it was having children of their own that helped them come to terms with the alleged abuse.
If I never had a son, I might still be in silence.
Really?
I think there's a really good chance. I had become so disconnected from myself as a little boy over the years, through the process of kind of pushing all of this down, that I had no relationship with little Wade. I had no kind of concept or care for in my mind little Wade.
And in your son, did you see yourself as a little boy?
That's what happened. I started having visions or images of what happened to me happening to my son, and I saw images of Michael doing it to my son, and that was the first time that those kind of thoughts in relation to Michael ever had an extremely negative, scary, emotional reaction in me. You know, it was once I could see, really understand, this is what a little boy looks like and feels like and thinks like and behaves like. And this is what innocence feels like. And that was me.
I think your mothers are going to be in for some criticism. They are prominently featured in this documentary.
Just kid things. They were just doing kid things.
He just came across as a loving, caring, kind soul.
As I watched that, I had a lot of questions about how the behavior of your mothers in particular.
The parents are groomed, though.
The parents are groomed?
The parents are groomed as well. Michael spends a lot of time talking to your parents and connecting with them and building relationships with them. He pays attention to them, and they're groomed over the time. It is their job to protect us, and they didn't, but I try to look at it from their point of view without letting them off the hook, because obviously that's their job.
And what about Michael's staff?
Well, the staff are everywhere. Michael had so many people, employees, running his life, running his career, running his life. Secretaries, security guards, to make sure that the room I was in with him was secure and closed off and private, so he could do anything he wanted with me.
So you said people had to know that this was going on.
It's hard for me to believe
that this was going on.
That people didn't know, or at least people had to wonder, what is going on? Something weird is going on here.
Where does Michael Jackson sit with you both today?
I don't think I can answer that. Yeah. I still have really, I can't, a lot of mixed feelings. There's still a bit of love, and it's almost like a guilt for saying the truth. Like I betrayed him.
Like you betrayed him?
Yeah, it's like I still have those old wiring, that's still there. So, my relationship, or my understanding my relationship with him, I think it needs a lot of work.
The Jackson family points out to us that your story's changed after Michael's death, is what they're saying. That if he were still alive, you all would not be sitting here talking to us right now. There would be no movie, there would be no documentary, you would not be talking. What do you say to that?
Right. If Michael was still alive and all of the rest of the details of my life were the same, meaning I became a father, right? And I went through the same process that I did of this realization and going through the healing process. My belief is that we'd still be doing this. Of course, some details may be different.
James?
I don't know. Would I have taken this to my grave? I certainly planned on doing that. So I had no expectations of ever telling anyone. So, you know, if he was still alive, I don't know, maybe I would have taken it to my grave. I don't know.
It's interesting that James talks about the guilt that he feels, and you can see he is still extremely fragile. He's married, he has 3 children. Wade is married and has 1 son. And both of them said the births of their sons were a very defining moment for them. They've had therapy, they've had breakdowns. It's been a very difficult road for them. And we have to stress again, you know, the first case with Michael Jackson in 1993, he settled for $22 million. That was a Jordan Chandler case. And in the trial in 2005, he was acquitted. So the Jackson family is very adamant that you must mention that he has never been found guilty of any of these charges. Still, what these young men are saying is very, very serious and very, very disturbing. And they say it's our story and our story to tell. That both things are true, in their opinion. Michael Jackson was a genius, a musical talent, but he was also someone who abused young boys.
Yeah, and that story they tell when they talk about the old wiring is so complex.
Yeah.
It would seem to be that if you were making up a story, it wouldn't have all that messy complexity in it, and that's what makes them seem so credible.
believable.
On those details, they have always been consistent, always. Leaving Neverland airs Sunday, March 3rd and March 4th on HBO. And on today's CBS This Morning podcast, we're going to talk to the documentary's producer and director, Dan Reed. He was here on Tuesday, and we continued our conversation later that day. You can listen on any major podcast platform. We'll be right back. You're watching CBS This Morning.